Liverpool was a hotbed of political activity more than a quarter of a century ago, and now the city is at the forefront of the latest experiment in democracy. So far, only a handful of places have followed London's example of electing mayors. In May, 10 more will hold referendums to decide whether or not they want one. But Labour councillors in Liverpool have decided, rather controversially, to skip the referendum, go straight to the vote. Our political correspondent Michael Crick reports.
Liverpool politics has always been rather distinctive from other English cities, more rumbustious, more personality-driven, with a touch of Chicago almost. And on May the 3rd, Liverpool will become the biggest city outside London, directly to elect its own mayor, a policy being pushed through quickly by the Labour Council, with government backing, without asking local voters if they actually want an elected mayor. The government has obliged 10 other major English cities on May the 3rd to hold referendums asking voters there whether they too should have an elected mayor in Birmingham, Bradford, Bristol, Coventry, Leeds, Manchester, Newcastle, Nottingham, Sheffield and Wakefield. But Liverpool, by going ahead without a referendum and actually electing a mayor on May the 3rd, hope that they'll be able to steal a march on their rivals in the battle for funding from Whitehall. The Labour Council leader Joe Anderson says having a mayor will unlock hundreds of millions in grants. And he's hot favourite to win the job. Isn't it thoroughly undemocratic? Everywhere else is having a vote.
Look, there will be a vote for who is going to be mayor. And
well, there won't be a vote as to whether people of Liverpool want a mayor.
I genuinely believe that when people see the deal, people will be interested in who's standing and who's going to make sure that this deal is applied properly and fairly across the city and benefits the city. I'm not so sure that people are keen to debate the issue of in a referendum. I just think that's political anoraks that want to do that.
Liverpool's often gone for strong local bosses, men like Jack Braddock, the Labour leader who ran the town hall in the 50s.
The media have chosen to...
And Derek Hatton, whose work with the Trotskyist militant tendency in the 80s, this young anorak often reported for this programme. Hatton's now 64, a big milestone round here. He's worn well, compared with some. Do you think you would have been better off if you'd been an elected mayor?
No, not really. I think what we were lucky in that we still had the powers when we were there, and the powers that are being suggested, as I understand, for the elected mayor now are probably not as much as we had in the 80s, and that's what worries me a little bit. You can have all this hullabaloo about a mayor with all the powers and they can do this and get rid of bureaucracy. Well, in real terms, that's not going to happen.
Labour plans to push the policy through the council chamber next Tuesday, just 3 days before the law kicks in, requiring a referendum to introduce an elected mayor. The opposition, outnumbered more than 2 to 1 by Labour, are crying foul.
I was stopped in the street the other day by a guy who said, "What's all this about the mayor then? That's a huge power grab, isn't it?" So some people clearly are worried that a decision's being taken without them being asked. But there's a principle here. Let's find out if people care. Let's run the referendum. That's what was going to happen. Why do we need an individual to grab all the power for himself?
A local broadcaster, Liam Fogarty, who's long campaigned for an elected mayor, is also running along with Herbert Howe, flamboyant owner of this famous beauty salon.
He declared his candidature earlier this week and then immediately set off on a 3-week business trip to Bangkok. As things stand, May's election looks like being something of a walkover for Labour.
How about it then? Why don't you stand?
I don't think there's any chance there. I think there's more chance of me as an Evertonian standing on the cop than there is standing for the position of Mayor of Liverpool.
But the Lib Dems fear, and some Labour people too, that an elected mayor could return Liverpool to the bullying boss politics of its past.
After the break, why Birmingham is building the biggest library in Europe.